Dear students, last class we studied about a main three plant promoting hormones. That is, one is auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. Auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins are the major three growth promoting hormones. And the discovery of auxins and discovery of gibberellins and the cytokinins. And what are the physiological effects of the hormones? That is, auxins, gibberellins and the cytokinin in the study. Okay. In this class, we discuss about growth inhibiting hormones. So what are those growth inhibiting hormones? One is abscisic acid and another one is ethylene. Abscisic acid and ethylene are the two growth inhibiting hormones. Okay, first that is ethylene. Ethylene is one of the growth promoting hormones. Ethylene, it is before to that, ethylene, it plays both as a promoting, again and promoting hormone. So ethylene, it plays a growth promoting and as well as a inhibiting hormone agi act ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. But majority the majority ethylene, it plays a inhibiting hormone. It plays a role as an inhibiting hormone. So that's why it is placed under a growth inhibiting hormone place ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. So it performs both as a promoter and a inhibitor. But majority of the ethylene, it plays a role as an inhibitor. So that's why it is placed under a growth inhibiting hormone. Okay, ethylene was first discovered by Cousin. Cousin as a scientist, he was first discovered the ethylene. Cousin confirmed the release of a volatile substance from ripened oranges that extended the ripening of stored unripened bananas. Later, this volatile substance was identified as ethylene. This volatile substance was identified as ethylene or a gaseous plant growth regulator. So otherwise it is called as a gaseous. So because illi enandre cousin observe madidru. So in a particular one oranges, the unripened oranges, it is also ripened the unripened banana. Andre igello ottige ittirthivi. ಯಾವುದು ripened oranges, unripened banana. After a few days or a few hours, we observed that unripened banana also it becomes ripened because of a release of a volatile substance from the ripened fruits. So that volatile substance or a gaseous substance which is released by the ripened fruits, that is called as a ethylene. It is called as a ethylene. And next we studied the physiological effects of a ethylene. Ethylene, it induces a horizontal growth of seedlings, swelling of the axis, and apical hook formation in dipod seedlings. And next, ethylene promotes senses and abscission of plant organs, especially of leaves and flowers. And next, ethylene is highly effective in fruit ripening. It enhances the respiration rate during the ripening of the fruits. It increases the respiration rate during the ripening of the fruits. This rise in route of respiration is called as a respiratory climatic. So that increase of a respiration rate during the ripening of the fruits is called as a respiratory climatic. And next, ethylene also promotes root growth and root hairs formation. Ethylene also promotes root growth and root hairs formation, thus helping the plants to increase their absorption of a surface area. And when we spray the ethylene to the plantlet, it slowly increases the ethylene in the plantlets in the form of ethophyll. It is releases of plantlets in the form of ethylene. Ethylene form ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರ ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿಮ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬರ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪೌಡರ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ರೈಪನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪೌಡರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಫಾರ್ ದ ರೈಪನಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ರೈಪನಿಂಗ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಗೆ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಥೋಫಿನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಮೇನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಥೈಲಿನ್ ಇಟ್ ರೈಪನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ Ethylene is used to initiate flowering and for synchronizing fruit set in pineapple. It helpful for the initiate of a flowering initiation help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, and also it is helpful for the setting of a fruits, especially for example like in a pineapple. Okay, and next is another one ethylene. And next ethylene, it also induces flowering. It also induces a flowering in mango plantlets. And next is the ethylene regulates so many physiological process. It regulates the so many physiological process. It is one of the most widely used plant growth regulator, especially in agricultural fields. The most widely used compound as source of ethylene is a ethylene formally use ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. So ethylene helps in fruit ripening, especially for example in a tomato, apple, etc., and accelerates abscission in flowers and fruits. It also accelerates the abscission of flowers and fruits. So these are all the physiological effects of the ethylene. Okay, next another one, growth inhibiting hormones, that is called as abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is another one inhibiting hormone. During in the mid 1960s, 3 independent researchers, the purification and chemical characterization of 3 different kinds of inhibitors. So during in the 1960s, they discovered the major 3 different chemical compounds. That is one is an inhibitor B, abscission second, and Dormin. But later the 3 were discovered chemical compounds. They are chemically identical to each other. So those 3 compounds, that is the one is an inhibitor, abscission, and Dormin. So these 3 chemical compounds which are in the same chemical structure. So to avoid a confusion, so those 3 chemical compounds, that is the inhibitor, abscission, and Dormin, together they are kept under a single substance that is called as abscisic acid. It is abbreviated as ABA, abscisic acid. Together these 3 compounds which is kept under a single chemical substance that is called as abscisic acid. Next, what are the physiological effect of abscisic acid? Abscisic acid, ABA, it inhibits seed germination. It acts as an inhibitor. So it inhibits the seed germination. And ABA stimulates the closure of stomata in epidermis. And increases the tolerance of plants to various kinds of stresses. So therefore, it is also called as the stress hormone. That means abscisic acid which occurs near to the stomata in a epidermis. During any stress condition, it is helpful to withstand the plant state against the stress condition. So that's why the hormone, abscisic acid hormone, is called as a stress hormone. It is called as a stress hormone. So ripening hormone andre that is a ethylene. Stress hormone is that is a abscisic acid is called as a stress hormone. And next, abscisic acid plays an important role in seed development, maturation, and dormancy. Dormancy means some of the seed it undergoes a resting period. The resting period of a seed, it is called as a dormancy period. So that dormancy period which is involves in by the presence of a abscisic acid. It induces the dormancy in a plant. ABA helps seeds to withstand desiccation and other factors unfavorable for growth. ಅದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ರು ನಾನು, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as a stress hormone ಅಂತ, because it helpful to withstand during any unfavorable condition. So that is called as a abscisic acid. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇದಿಷ್ಟು? That is a discovery of abscisic acid and what are the physiological effects of the abscisic acid. Okay, next. There is another major two important phenomenon which is occurs in plant growth and development. That is a phototrophism. You already know about a phototrophism. But it is a phenomenon that is a photoperiodism. Confusion agbarkondro. Phototrophism means it is a plant which bends towards the sunlight. That is called as a phototrophism. But it is another one phenomenon which is occurs in a plant growth, that is called as a photoperiodism. Photoperiodism means flowering in certain plants. Flowering in certain plants depends not only on a combination of light, and dark exposures, but also their relative durations. This response of plants to period of day or night is termed as photoperiodism. The plants which depends on the light and the dark condition. But it is not a response. What photoperiodism is, flowering in a plants, it is not only depends upon the light and the dark, also it is responsive with the period of day and the night. It is termed as a photoperiodism. The response of a plant for the flowering purpose, exposure to the light or dark condition, that is called as a photoperiodism. Based on the photoperiodism, the plants can be classified into three types. One is a short day plants, long day plants, and day neutral plants. Short day plants. A plant that requires a long period of darkness. For the what purpose? It may be for the flowering purpose. So, is termed as a short day plants. It requires long darkness period. So, long night period. So, that plant is called as a short day plants. Short day plants form flowers only when day length is less than about 12 hours. So, ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ 12 hours ಅಂತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, so particularly plants which having some of the critical period. The critical period is, it is a time duration for the flowering of a particular plants. A plants ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು time duration ಬೇಕು for the set of a flower. So that is called as critical period. A period time duration ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So a flowering period so less than flowering period or that means less than critical period, or it is overcome the critical period. So based on this, the plant can be classified into three types. That is a short day, long day, and a day neutral. So one is that is a short day means it requires a more dark period, short day period. So that is called as a short day plants. For example, for the short day plants are the chrysanthemum and the cactus are the example for short day plants. And next is the long day plants. Long day plants are the plants that requires lower only when amount of daylight longer than the critical period. It overcome the critical period. So typically in a spring or early summer season. So that is called as a long day plants. Examples like hibiscus, cornflower, spinach, radish, sugar beet, potato. So these are all the examples for the long day plants. And another one is a day neutral plants. Day neutral plants are the plants that flowers regardless of the length of the period of light it is exposed to. That means day neutral plants means it is neutral plant. It does not require so much daytime or much night time. It does not require so that much of a day or a night. So that is called as a day neutral plants. Examples for the day neutral plants are the rice, corn, and the cucumber are the examples for day neutral plants. Okay, next another important phenomenon which is occurs in a plant growth, that is called as a vernalization. Vernalization is nothing but it is a phenomenon of which flowering in certain plants certain plant is either qualitatively or quantitatively depend on exposure to low temperature. It is nothing but vernalization. The plant which flowering only in a lower temperature. The plants which flowering only in a lower temperature. So that is called as a vernalization. For example, in some important food plants like wheat and barley have two kinds of varieties. That means wheat and barley which grows in a two varieties. One in a two seasons. One is a spring season and another one is a winter season. The spring season variety are normally planted in a spring season. Spring variety are normally planted in a spring season. It come to flower and produce a grain. Flowering agutte and it produces a grains before to the end of a growing season. So it is a complete finish of their life cycle. But in a winter varieties, however, if planted in a spring, winter variety if we planted in a spring, would normally fail to flower and produce a mature grains within a span of flowering season. So, winter varieties planted in a spring plant madre. So, it is a failure to produce a flower and a grains. Hence, they are planted in a atma. They germinate and over winter come out as a small seedlings and resume the growth in the spring, and it is harvested usually around in a midsummer. So that is called as a vernalization. Vernalization means it is a flowering in a lower temperature. It is called as a vernalization. So idishtu artha aaytandre. So once recall madana. That is the first is a growth. What is growth? Growth is a permanent, irreversible increases in the length, mass and size of a particular part or a organ, and also a single individual cell is called as a growth. And next, growth can be classified into two types. One is a limited growth and unlimited growth. Limited growth, it is otherwise called as a determinate. Unlimited is called as indeterminate, and examples for those limited and unlimited growth. Okay, next growth can be plant growth, especially plant growth can be indeterminate. So because of the presence of a meristematic tissue, it increases the number of cells. So this form of growth is called as an open form of growth. And next, growth can be measurable. So growth measures by using the different parameters. The one way to measure a growth by using an instrument that is called as an axonometer. And another different parameters to measure a growth, that is increases in the number of cells. We can calculate the number of cells and fresh weight and the dry weight of the leaves and length of the pollen tube. So these are all the different parameters. Okay. And next is that is a growth rate. Growth rate. What is growth rate? The total increased growth per unit time. The total increased growth per unit time, it is called as a growth rate. Now, geometric growth rate and arithmetic growth rate are the only two mathematical expression for the growth rate. It is not a type of a growth rate. So first, arithmetic growth rate. The arithmetic growth rate means a single parental cell divides and it produces two daughter cell. In a two daughter cell, only one daughter cell it undergoes cell division, mitotic cell division. The remaining one undergo maturation. So that is called as arithmetic. Geometric means in a single parental cell it divides and it produces two daughter cell. Both the two daughter cell it undergo cell division, mitotic cell division. That is called as a geometric growth rate. And next, the graph for the arithmetic growth rate is a linear graph. Graph for the geometric growth rate, that is called as a S-curve or a sigmoid curve. In a S-curve or a sigmoid curve, there are mainly three phases: lag phase, log phase and stationary phase. Log phase, it is also called as exponential phase. And the formula for the geometric growth rate is W1 equals W0 ERT. Formula for the arithmetic growth rate. Formula for the arithmetic growth rate is LT equals L0 plus ERT. LT equals L0 plus ERT. So these are all the major differences for the arithmetic and the geometric growth rate. Okay, next, that is a development. What is development? All the changes that is occurs in the plantlet throughout their lifespan, it is called as a development. And next, plasticity. The ability to change their structure of the plantlets responsive with the environmental factors and life phases, that is called as a plasticity. If there is a change in their structure of a leaf is called as a heterophyly. Examples for the plasticity are the coriander and the buttercup are the examples for plasticity. And another major three important phenomenon which is occurs in a plant growth and development, that is called as a differentiation, de-differentiation and redifferentiation. Differentiation means some of shoot and the root apical cells they gets mature and performs their own function. De-differentiation means already differentiated cell, it regains the capacity to divide under certain conditions, that is called as a de-differentiation. Redifferentiation means already de-differentiated cell, once again it lost the capacity to divide and it gets a mature and performs their own function, that is called as a redifferentiation. And next is especially phytohormones or growth hormones. They are the two types. One is a promoter and inhibitors. The promoters are the auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins. Inhibitors are the abscisic acid and ethylene. So these are all the major promoting and inhibiting hormones. And what are those physiological effects of those promoting and inhibiting hormones? And next is that is a photoperiodism. Photoperiodism is the plants which is exposure to the light and the darkness for the flowering phenomenon, that is called as a photoperiodism. Vernalization means the plants which have a capacity to flowering only in a lower temperature, so that is called as a vernalization. Okay, thank you students.